we bought a house, you know what? F home ownership is what I have to say.
That's a tough.
We went live like
that's
5 seconds
I
ago,
know.
and that is all
Just
on the
in
record,
time. Just in time for F home ownership.
Yep.
And I'm
I hate
in
it.
the real estate industry. So.
Perfectly timed.
I literally do mortgages for a living, so please don't spread that word.
Well, it's not going to help.
Home ownership.
You know what it is we bought this. This house is, I mean, we should have expected a 108-year-old home, now a 110-year-old home when we bought it.
Cool,
Might have had some things. It is. It's all rehabbed, but, you know, some of that stuff starts settling in when someone lives there.
There's still 100 years of age on a lot of that stuff, no matter 100%. How pretty the walls are.
Do you know what it is, though? And this is what I didn't know, is that every time you come into any sort of money, right? The government's like, hey, we're going to send you $4,000. It's like, yeah. The second it hits your account, the home is like, oh, I'm leaky. Like,
y'all hear they got money? Time to break.
Exactly.
So you wanted hot water? Guess what?
Yeah, exactly.
$4,000 sounds like a furnace.
Oh my God.
Cha-ching.
Every time. Luckily, this was something stupid.
I
didn't realize you should
save.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say save money. What didn't you realize?
No, save money. Save money? I didn't realize that you're supposed to tighten your toilet down. Like you're supposed to go and check the bolts every once in a while. Apparently.
Oh yeah, grab it with your knees and just rock the shit out of it.
I didn't realize that you're supposed to Apparently, because what happens is underneath there's a little seal that gets pressed down. There's
the wax seal,
ring.
It can come loose.
Grossest thing in your home.
Well,
the wax ring really is the grossest thing in your home.
Luckily, I just had to tighten it. That's all I did.
Also, if you've ever taken your toilet seat off,
nope.
Oh,
yeah, you want to talk about gross?
You got to do that regularly.
We've got a whole bunch of people watching.
Isn't this why they tuned in?
Love Money, Buy Whiskey. Yeah, we're live right now. So I am pouring.
They came here.
I've already poured my samples, and I have
this one. I'm prepared to drink all of it.
Yeah. So why can't I think of the word? A control bottle. To kind of figure out.
I should have done that.
Yeah. So
I'm not that smart.
I have the control bottle. So we know that what we're picking is at least somewhat different. So everybody who is tuned in, watching, thank you for tuning in. It is 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, where I am at. We've got 3 of our Patreon members, Nick, James, and Josh with us. We are picking a fan favorite from our local distillery, our favorite distillery in Illinois, Whiskey Acres. We have had the awesome, super fortunate chance to pick a bourbon whiskey finished in maple syrup casks. This is my absolute favorite bourbon.
Has anyone done one of these yet?
Yeah, I know there's one. I know of one other club that has done this pick, but it was a few years ago. I don't know of anybody that's done it since. You know, it's not to say that there isn't anybody that has done it since, but it's not one that I see often. So, and this is the time of year they're going to be releasing the Artisan Series Maple Syrup Cask here within the next couple months. So I've been, Nick Nagley, if you're watching, I've been bugging you for like 2 years now. So thank you for this opportunity. So we're going to start. So the way these are labeled, guys, is they're just kind of labeled MC, which is Maple Cask. And then they've got numbers on them. So MC727, MC794, and MC795. These were all sent to me in 100 milliliter samples, which is very small. So for 4 people, it comes out to just shy of a full ounce each. Wow. I would have loved to have had more people involved in this, especially for Patreon, but unfortunately, there just wasn't enough to go around. So these guys are joining me on this one. So basically, the way this is going to go, guys, is I know. Josh, you've done a barrel pick before. Nick, I don't know if you've done one. James, I don't know if you've done one. Remember, what we're doing here is we're not only picking the best of the 3, but we're also picking something that's just generally good. You have to keep in mind that everybody that's going to be buying one of these bottles, they don't know the other. They haven't tasted the other 2, so they don't know that the one that we picked is going to be the best of the three. They just they're looking at
We're going to tell them.
They're comparing it to this, so we have to make sure it's better than this, right?
Got it. Are they all supposed to have so much smoke on the profile? It's weird.
I haven't even nosed it yet.
It's very peaty.
I was going to say, I'm still drinking. It's very peat on.
It's very peaty. Is this Scott?
I'm just trying to poke fun at someone.
Did he send us a Lagavulin instead? So I have my notes. The way I analyze it is nose, palate, finish, and then an overall. This way we can go back and review our notes and kind of pick out the things that we like. So I'm going to go in with the control.
I should have bought a control. I don't have a control.
Let's pretend that.
We'll I'll drink this mezcal. That's a control, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Same.
And I don't know, for those of you who are going to ask, I don't know what the proof is on any of these. Literally, the only information that I have is MC 727. That's all I have. I have no other information. I don't know what barrel size it is. I don't know what the mash bill. I know nothing other than the MC and the number that's on there. So I know there's going to be a lot of you guys that are probably going to wonder, what's the proof? What's this? What's that? Can you tell? No, I can't. I don't know the answer to that. So we'll hopefully have Nick Nagley join us later on this evening once we actually pick a barrel, and he has all of that information. So if we don't run too late, he'll hopefully join in with us and be able to tell us what we picked.
I actually like that. I recently did a tasting with Gene, and we talked about, I said something, he quickly was like, I hate when people say that. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, I'm a person, and I said it. But I told him I tasted his Weller pick, and he didn't tell me the proof or anything like that, right? And I tasted it, and I was like, wow, this drink's really nice for a Weller Foolproof pick, considering that Weller Foolproof that I've had before usually tends to be a little punchy, and not in a friendly way, which people sort of want from their Weller Foolproof pick, but his wasn't. It was really soft on the palate, very similar to his old Elk Weeded pick. And I said, it really drinks, and he said, what do you think of the proof? And I said, I'd have to guess it's in the 120, maybe 115 range. And he's like, no, it's higher than that. And I was like, wow, it certainly doesn't drink like that. And he was like, I hate when people say that. And the thing I learned from him, he's been doing those picks forever, right? So he said that if it's a good barrel, the way he picks is if it's a good barrel and it drinks well, then it's the right pick. Who cares about the proof? If you find out the proof and it's a 130, a 135, who gives a shit? If it drinks well and it's nice in the palate and there's nice balance and there's none of those nasty notes, he said that if he tastes a barrel like that, to him it's either it's overaged and over oaked, or it's too young. And he's like, you can always tell when it's too young because it burns. You can always tell when it's over oaked because it's a little more, there's too much wood on the palate. So I think it's cool that we don't know the proof. My whole point of telling that story is I think it's cool we don't know the proof.
It was a good story.
And I mean, the point of that is that I want to kind of nip that in the bud right now, because I know exactly who the person is, and I'm gonna get it out of the way in the beginning. I don't have any information on any of this stuff other than what it tastes like.
That's all that matters.
So I don't know. Please don't send me a message on Facebook. Please don't comment. I don't know.
Hey, just to be clear, we are drinking the 727 right now, right?
So what I like to do is I like to go around and nose all of them first.
Boo.
The nose on 795, I guess we can probably just call them 1, 2, 3. I think it'll make it a little bit easier. Going from lowest, 727, 794, and 795, just 1, 2, 3. But the nose, I think on 3. Oh, the nose on 2 is real good, though. Wow, that's like...
The nose on 1's hot. The hottest.
Yep, the nose on 1 is definitely the hottest. The nose on 2, though.
3's mellowest.
3 is definitely mellow. It's also the fruitiest, I think. It's got some, maybe is there I don't know, some sort of berry note in there?
Oh, man.
2 is the second one's real creme brulee. It's the crust.
I was just gonna say, it's creamy.
God, I almost want to drink that one first, but
barrel number 1 has some spice to it, but it smells like some char. I mean, I was joking about the smoke thing before, but it's got a little smoke to it, a little spicy smoke.
So going into the control, I mean, this is like pure brown sugar and maple syrup, like going to the control bottle. Sample number 3. I get a little tobacco in there, like walking into a humidor.
You been to my house?
Well, I see it. Yeah, I'm probably. Yeah, I know you're smoking a cigar right now.
So your palate's shot for this.
Well,
Nice.
it's funny if we were doing
This is how I
rye,
enjoy whiskey every night. So I
would totally roll a stick if we were on a rye or something, but wasn't sure about the sweetness, how much that would mess me up.
I think
sample number 2 actually has the best nose.
Taste how I drink. So
I agree. 2 has the most balance of 1 and 3. It's got a little bit of that spicy char.
1 is definitely smoky.
Right? Okay. I just want everyone to know, like, it's
no,
not
you're 100%
peat,
correct. It's not peat,
but it's got
it's
some
smoke.
Man, it's sort of, as a peat lover, as a peat chaser, man, it's sort of intoxicating a little bit, but
you got a visitor there, Nick.
well, hello. How's it smell? Good. Okay, cool.
Who's at the airport?
I live right by an airport.
Man,
Paladon 2 is smoky too.
You tried it. I haven't even tried any of them yet.
But the Paladon 2 is oh wow. That's like, oh man. Paladon 2 is fucking crazy, dude. Absolutely crazy. It's smoke right up front, and then it's literally a whiff of smoke. It disappears, and then it's this sugary, mapley, like caramelized sugar sweetness. It's that whiff of smoke right up front, and then it's gone, and then it's just a wave of like mapley, caramely, sugary sweetness. That's fucking crazy.
All right, first one I've tried is number 1. I'll tell you, that nose so far, I keep going between 2 and 1. I like the spice and the char of 1. It's got that real deep, woodsy char smell. Not peat smell, but char.
Yep.
And the palate, what happened? It's like, it doesn't match the nose. I hate to be that guy, and I don't think Gene's watching, but it doesn't drink like it's so high. You know what I'm saying? Like, number 1 is not hitting me in the palate at all, but in a good way. But we'll see. I love.
Sorry for the quietness, everybody that's watching right now. There's going to be a little quiet, some quiet moments while we take notes.
So, on these smaller samples, trying to just get it right in the few shots you got with it. So in number 1, it is, it's super mild on the palate. I like the flavor of it. Yeah. I really like that, it's like on the back end that it lingers, and in that linger, you get a little bit of that smokiness back, or maybe it's that spice back. It's so faint that it's kind of hard to tell what it is, but you get this really mild linger that just hangs out for 20 seconds, and then it's pretty well gone.
Yeah, but like a toasted marshmallow.
Yeah, almost. You could blow through this bottle quickly. It's super drinkable.
You're talking about number 1?
Number 1, yeah.
Yeah, you could cruise through this, which is maybe dangerous. So.
Ooh. 2 is the sweetest so far.
Yeah, man, but you're right, man. Josh, you're right on that. Both 1 and 2 have that smoke up front that just almost within seconds is gone, and then it fades into this like real oil, like viscous, oily, just coats your tongue, coats your cheeks, the roof of your mouth, in like syrup coated raisins almost, or like syrup coated figs or dates or something.
He's got one of those giant 3-foot Post-it boards of all of the buzzwords that I can't think of.
Actually right here.
Baking spice.
It's a whole bunch of descriptor words. It's just right here. I'm just reading it up.
Is this summer fruit? What is this?
Yeah. It's like walking through a spring meadow.
I am using Westlands.
Yeah, where are the who's got the cicadas?
That's probably me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's not a window. That's like a garage screen cover.
That's my lifestyle screen.
Yeah, he's just so that he can roll smoke in the garage and not get eaten by those bugs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Man, so 2 I wrote down. So sample 1 to me is a smoky bear where they've just put out the fire. Sort of like campfire, graham cracker, toasted marshmallow. It's just I love the scent of it, but sample 2, I haven't gotten to 3 yet. I wrote down unctuous oil bomb. 2's palate is so sweet and oily, and it just lays there forever. I mean, it just doesn't go away.
I'll give you the oil thing for sure.
It's
all
super
3 of
oily.
these. So 3 and 2 I feel are pretty similar. 9.4 and 9.5 are pretty similar. I don't think we're going to have anybody complain about the finish on whichever one we pick, because it just goes on for days. And I get it's like that. It's that syrup soaked raisin or fig. You know, it's just that deep, rich, creamy, like dried fruit.
All right, so I'm going to make a. Go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
No, I was just saying two though. The finish on 2, that oily, viscous sort of. That's most pronounced on 2 by far to me. 3's got it too, but 2, like I take 1 sip, my entire mouth's coated in it.
All right, not to be mean to 2 or 3. MC795 number 3 has the most boring palate. So sorry.
MC795 takes it personally.
Did you cover MC795's ears when you said that?
I did. I picked it up and looked at it, and I was like,
just little.
MC795 parents are in the room, and they resent that.
Your little one note. It's a little one notey. It's got a little ethanol. It's got a little ethanol in the palate, man. It's got
it's still super sweet.
It is.
I think right now 2 for me is winning, but obviously, and again, there's not a whole lot of samples to go around, but
I'm doing super tiny sips, man, and I'm playing around, chewing on it, and it like 3. I'm going to go back in here in a second, but I got a lot of char, a lot of ethanol, a lot of that grain, right off the bat, and it sort of didn't calm down.
Yeah, see, I feel like you got in the nose on 3. There's more heat in the nose on 3 that almost wasn't really all that present in 1 and 2.
Agreed.
So I don't know, Josh, you have a control in front of you, right? You have the regular.
Yeah, buddy.
I think the control, the regular, the release that's from the distillery. I think that the three that we've tried are different enough, unique enough. But honestly, there's more like fruity notes to them, almost. Like, so you can tell, like, if you were to do them back to back, like, you could totally tell the difference.
Oh yeah, it's night and day different.
Like, you can tell it's still the maple syrup cask. You can tell that it's still like what they're going for, but it's different enough that you're like, oh, okay, I can totally tell that this is a single barrel pick. Yeah,
it's if I got to put it into breakfast terms, right? The control, right? Their standard artisan series. This is a lot more of I'm just being reckless and drinking whiskey with my pancakes in the morning. Whereas like a lot of these 3 that we're tasting are all kind of variations of like I stole my kids' pancakes with like fruit and some Cool Whip on top. Maybe it looks like Mickey Mouse. And now I'm drinking whiskey with my kids' pancakes. So, but yeah, I mean, the Artisan series definitely hits a little more. Where these are all very still, even with the smokiness and all the things we talked about. Even 3 is still smooth compared to the Artisan series, and not to take anything away from the control, the standard, right? But it's I think all 3 of them are a bit easier to drink than that one.
So 2 is giving me smoked pecans. I'm getting like smoked glazed pecans, and it's sort of rocking my world. Like it's the nose on 2 is so fucking good. It's so good. But 1's nose is really good too. It's just different.
You said pecans, man. You're dead on.
It's a bit nutty.
It is. I'm just getting like when you're walking through a mall, or like if you were at the Aurora outlet, they have that little
they have that stand there.
Bro.
Yeah.
It smells like that.
Get the nuts in like the paper cone.
That's for number 2.
Exactly. What are those called? That should be the sticker for the back of this.
It's those little. I think it's just a glazed pecan stand. Dude, it's like a ringer for it. It is a dead ringer for a glazed pecan stand. And you get that syrup, you get maple for sure.
Roasted nuts at the mall. Nutty Bavarian.
Nutty Bavarian.
That was my nickname in high school.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna find it.
Dude.
Who's watching on Facebook? Who's watching on YouTube? Post in the comments. What are you guys excited about for this pick?
I only see Facebook user. That's weird. I probably should go over to Facebook and just mute it. Man,
that's what I have going on right now.
1's
palate is really effing good though.
I think 3 for me. 795. It's not there. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I want it to be. I want it to be a little bit sweeter. You know, like I want it to have. I think it's too ethanol forward. I think it's too.
I agree.
I think it's too boozy.
To me, my immediate thought was, hey, this needs more time in the cask.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Which one was that? I was trying to find the name of that nut stand.
95.
Last one.
I agree. I can tell you 95 is not the winner for me.
I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not even going to make notes on that one, just because it's not.
You hear that, Nick? I'm just kidding. But honestly, like, to your point, Mike, when we started this thing, you're absolutely right that if I wasn't tasting these 4 together, this would be very tasty. Ooh, another visitor.
How do I just vote for number 2 right now?
For real.
I'm not a fan of 1, and nobody else likes 3. So.
Stop. We have to drink all of it and other bottles around us, and then vote on 2 with slurred speech.
Is anybody else like? What kind of mouthfeel are you getting right now? Is anybody else getting that like a numbing?
Yes.
Almost like a numbing sensation.
Yes. 2 has the most pronounced amount of it. Okay, let's calm down. 2 has the most pronounced amount of it, and it has just this oilness that will not go away. It reminds me of like
I'm swishing around water in my mouth. I can't.
It coats. It coats the entire palate.
Like,
yes.
Oh my god! It just blooms.
If you've ever gone to one of those fancy olive oil places or been in a mall where they have them, it reminds you when they give you a little sample of olive oil to try, and it just sticks. Like you're like, okay, I guess I'm tasting candied orange olive oil for the rest of the day.
So having just done the brakes on my car like yesterday, is my audio working?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where this is going, because that's an interesting qualifying statement.
So have you guys ever changed brakes
in his mouth?
No, anti-seize that you put on, and the shit like a little dab, it just spreads forever. Yep. That's what number 2 is in your mouth. It just goes everywhere and sticks there.
It's anti-seize.
It's whiskey anti-seize. Yeah.
Oh my god, and the nose. Oh
No, yeah, nose is. I mean, we can. I mean, whatever. I'm just gonna tell you right now. Number 2 is my pick by far.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I think we can probably just call it now. I think it's probably number 2. And here's the thing: it's not just because it's the best of the 3, right? I think 1 and 2 are kind of on a similar playing field. I think 2 just barely edges it out, but having the control also right in front of me, and Josh, you have the control in front of you too.
It is.
Yeah.
Super different.
So this is the control. This is number 2. This is more fruit forward, and it has just that faint hint of like smoke on the palate, and then it disappears and it coats the entire, like your entire mouth, like cheeks, roof, tongue. It gets into your nasal cavity, and it just sticks there.
1's really good, but man, 2 is like the honey barrel. It hit the spot. It got pulled at the right time. My God.
This is one of the best barrels that I've ever had from Whiskey Acres. I've sampled a lot of shit from Whiskey Acres. Man, I've sampled stuff from Whiskey Acres that's like we did a tour with them, a couple of years ago, and oh my God, and on your lips too. Do you guys feel it? Taste it on your lips?
It's just so good.
Like dry. It dries on your lips.
Rub it in your gums.
Hey, Sharon.
She wants to get in on that. She's watching.
Oh,
like, all right.
It dries on your lips into this sugary, sweet
I can't
syrup.
get over it.
You gotta brush your teeth with it. It's gotta get it.
Oh
in
my
there.
God, I'm gonna put it on my pancakes.
Yes. Last little bit.
Oh, I
on the
did
gums.
not know where you were going with that.
I'm gonna put it on my
Pants. Brick, are you trying to
Pants.
tell me there's a party in your pants and I'm invited?
No Brick.
I gotta watch that movie again. I love that movie.
Okay, here we go.
James, you're so quiet. I want to know, what did you think of the lineup? Like, what did you think of the 3?
All right, so I was not a big fan of 1 actually. Mine, the nose on it is just way too hot, and then I didn't get it on the palate.
Yeah,
and it's the smokiest of the 3, and I'm not a big smoke fan. We talked about that actually a little earlier today.
as he smokes a cigar.
As he smokes a cigar, right? I like my smoke coming from a leaf, not my liquids.
Dries.
What was that?
It's that dries, not wet.
Dry, yeah. Yeah, I like my smoke in dry form. So 1 was kind of out for me. 3, I don't know, I was kind of indifferent on. It didn't really do anything at all. It was like, I don't know, I know Kirkland's like the big thing on secondary now, I think, but like it's just basic. It's bland. There's nothing really special about it. Number 2, like that anise thing, that's literally what it reminds me of. I put 1 drop of it on my tongue and now it's over my entire mouth. Like the nose, cool, great, but the finish on it, how it just coats your entire mouth and stays there, is tremendous to me.
You haven't tasted anything, right?
On 2?
On 2.
It's unbelievable.
It's literally, I don't think I've had anything that I can recall that kind of just spreads through your entire mouth like that.
I'm already done making notes. I think I think we can. I'll shoot Nick a text here, unless Nick Nagely, if you're watching, go ahead and
send the man a link. Let him in here. Come on, start freestyling.
Move that wall. Oh.
What? Move that bus? What just
Move that
bus. Welcome to your home.
James, I agree with you. I think 1 is maybe a little bit too smoky for me. And Dan Greisen, who's watching, says pick the one that reminds you the most of Lagavulin. He's really good. He's a big smoke guy. I think 3 to me is just too ethanol forward. I think it's just too boozy. I don't think there's I don't know. It's not that it's bad. It just doesn't. It's not that it's the worst of the 3. It's just like, for me, if I were to be drinking that on its own, without any other variables, without any other bottles next to me, like if I were a regular consumer, Joe Schmo that's watching this, and sips on it, I'd be like, that's not really that good. But if I'm Joe Schmo watching this and I buy a bottle of number 2, I'd be like, oh damn,
yeah,
that's like, yeah. Because remember, we can compare the 3 or the 4 because we have the control, but not everybody else can. They're only tasting the one that we pick.
Yep.
So far, Sharon's review is she's on 2.
I can so Nick Nagley is going to hop on here in just a second. Oh, here he is.
What?
Sweet.
1 was very one note.
1 was a very one note, she says. 2 was what?
Manager.
Nick's
What's
enjoying
What's up with the man?
Nick is enjoying the good old outdoors, either in his backyard or at the distillery.
I'm cooking supper.
Ooh, there you go.
There you go.
Nice little setup there.
The hot
Did I
chip.
just see a
With a-
blanketed Traeger there?
You saw a blanketed Z grill, which is the
Ooh.
hillbilly
Oh,
Jeep
Z.
version.
Yeah.
There you go. I know
If you
Z-Grill.
go to Jewel the weekend after Labor Day, they're 75% off.
There
Your
you
wife
go.
sent you there for bananas. You come home with 2 smokers. You know.
I love that. About to send my wife to fight with you.
So did you find anything good?
So yeah, so MC794, which we just called barrel number 2,
Okay.
is definitely the winner. So I know you're cooking dinner right now, but I know you also have a spreadsheet filled with all the information. So this is obviously a maple syrup cask. I would guess this is probably. What would you say the proof on this is, guys? I mean, what are we around the 110 mark?
Higher.
Oh,
No way.
I'd be
proof?
shocked if it's any higher than that.
I
Number
bet it's
2.
at least 10 points higher.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was gonna-
wow.
Just based off of historic. We actually when we get those maple cask ones, we actually send those off to a lab and get the proof done as opposed to using a hydrometer, because the sugar content in it throws off the specific gravity, and so we let the professionals tell us what it is. But I mean, it's just generally what that barrel is generally just part of our portfolio, and everything we've ever done at Cask Strength has been in that like 116 to 120 range. Now,
Wow.
you may very well have. What was it? Extra sweet, or what? Rob told me that he picked 3 barrels that were like extremes of like, there's a little bit of maple.
I think 1 was the extreme of smoke.
Yep.
I think 2 was
For
the
sure.
extreme of maple.
I'm gonna go with
Okay.
balance, but yeah.
So
Well-
just the regular maple
Yeah, I don't
syrup.
think
we're
the
coming in
maple
at
overtakes it.
59.7%. So
No.
this doesn't drink. I mean, honestly, it doesn't drink like 120 or even close to it. I don't know. This
But-
drinks more
but
like
3
105.
runs hot.
I was just gonna say, to me, it drinks like bottled in bond.
Yeah.
It drinks
Yeah.
like a bottled in bond strength.
Well, what I can tell you just for sure is the whiskey that went into it was 120 proof.
Okay.
And, and all of our maple casks sit next to the boiler for a year, or very close to a year, some a little more. And we do that because it raises the proof because of that heat pressure.
Sure.
Right.
And so I have a spreadsheet, but I don't have any extra special details for you. Everything you guys got was a 25-gallon barrel. The one thing I don't know that I will find out is we work with 2 different maple syrup suppliers. One is Funk's Grove down by Bloomington, Illinois, and the other is Sugar Hill Sugar Bush up by Wausau, Wisconsin. And I will get you the information on it. I don't know off the top of my head which one that is.
Okay.
Cool.
But really the level of sweetness probably just comes down to how long do they let the barrel drip before they put the bung back in and send it to us. But everything that went into those barrels was at least 4 years, aged in a 53-gallon barrel. So what you're drinking there is at least 5-year-old, because you add the extra year on the maple cask finish.
So
My
it's in a maple cask for a year?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
My
give or
biggest
take.
issue with MC794 is how effing good it is. I'm literally
Tell us more.
So we're looking at
oh,
and the other question that a lot of people have is, you guys, it's only a 375 milliliter. No,
So
it
good.
cannot be bottled in 750s. It's
not doing it.
375.
It's okay. You just buy 2.
How many come in a case?
Or 4.
The 6-pack case.
6-pack case. Okay.
And these are coming out at $19.99. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Is that the price on those? Yeah, about a $20 bill.
If you'd like me to continue being able to do this, you'll need to
Pay
retract
He
your
won't.
name.
He won't be able to get the Z grill at that point, man. We'll
Yeah,
have to get like
Bro,
a
how
different.
am I gonna afford exactly? How am I supposed to afford the Z Grill at 75% off?
Nick, what is the MSRP of this at the gift shop at the distillery?
You want more?
I believe it's $47.99.
Okay, so after tax, we'll call it about $50 for
Yeah. And
for
just, you know,
$3.75.
we recognize that that's
One.
on the pricier side of things, and the reason why, just to totally legitimize it, is when you double barrel, you take the angel share and the devil's cut twice.
Right.
You know, so we have the losses off the original barreling, then we put in the second one. We're going to lose 10-15% real quick, just by having it in there. Like I said, we have to use the lab for the proof. So just everything about it is just more expensive, and then compound it with the fact that it's really damn good and it's really high proof.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we're looking at, give or take about 120 proof, about $50. 375 milliliter bottles. There's 6 to a case for anybody that's, because I know there was several people that commented, they're like, sign me up for a case. And I will, I'll post I'll post all the tasting notes, guys. We'll kind of hang out. Nick will, if you want to go and eat your dinner. I don't blame you. I gotta eat something too.
My wife gets hangry, so I do need to address
Yes,
this.
go hang with your bride. Appreciate you, man.
And just so you all know, it'll be a couple months before this is in a bottle, just because I have to send it to a lab. I got to get those results back. Then I'm able to get the label designed. So this will be an ASAP.
Okay.
But
let's just bypass the label. We'll do clear
30
bottles.
days. 30 days.
Nick, I know.
I'm gonna need this in August.
Right on there with Sharpie.
I know. Real quick before we let you go. I know our friends TJ and Will over at Adventures Club have picked a barrel of this in the past. How many other barrel picks of this maple syrup are floating? Have you guys done?
This will be number 2.
Oh, sweet.
Yep.
Very cool.
Everything else is part of the blend.
Very cool.
And then COVID has created some real issues with the supply chain, which goes directly to our bottle supplier.
Mm-hmm.
If things go as planned, this will be the blend of this will be a September, mid to late September release.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'm able to just sync that up with your guys' bottle or barrel as well. Moving forward, we will continue to have this, but the finish is actually going to be in 53-gallon barrels too. So it'll be interesting to see how this evolves. But we have at least doubled every year for the last 4 years.
That's awesome.
This got a double gold at San Francisco. This also got a double gold at Fred Minnick's Ascot Awards.
Not surprising.
Which we talked about a couple weeks ago on the podcast.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Have you guys ever played around with not doing barrel proof on it and gone with like a 46% or anything like that?
We've done an 87 proof.
How was it?
It was good.
Yeah.
But the balance that comes with the ethanol heat, balanced with the sweetness at cask strength, just makes it stand out.
Got it. Yeah.
Our original release was an 87 proof up, so 43.5% ABV. It was good, but there's just so much more to it here.
Yeah. Sure.
Wow.
Well, this was. I mean, I know you're trying to eat your dinner. I appreciate you coming on,
but you still can't go.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much for allowing us to be the second club to do a pick of the maple syrup. I know I've been bugging you for like 2 years about it.
This is
I told you when I had a lot of things. Do it. So
yeah, I appreciate you sending the samples, and letting our little club do this pick. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I've already kind of reserved myself like 2 cases of it because it's my favorite bourbon in the world. So Nick, we're gonna let you go,
Cheers,
get to eating. Enjoy your dinner.
Buddy.
Guys, we'll hang out.
Thank your wife for a couple years of your life.
It's really cool that he's going to let us stop by and drink it whenever we can. Like we can try barrel samples whenever we want.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
awesome,
right? We just go into the distillery, and like like Jamie doesn't care. I don't think anybody will care.
The angel share was actually 50% for some reason.
Weird.
Weird.
So I'll take.
Why are there a bunch of straws on the ground?
So, guys, just to kind of recap the notes that I have, I didn't even take really good notes for number 1, or I didn't. I had my notes for number 3 were just smoke and ethanol. My notes for number 2, I'll take a picture of it later and I'll post it for everybody that's watching. We got quite a bit of viewers here. I actually put a note on there. It said one of the best whiskey acre barrels I have ever had in caps. My notes for the nose, I said berry. Slight berries, I get a bit of raspberries, some strawberries, some orchard fruit in there. But I get a little bit of smoke, some toasted sugar, glazed pecans, like you said, glazed pecans, Nick, and you were dead on with that. For the palate, I said the smoke fades quick and turns into maple syrup, sugary, sweet, glazed, some sort of glazed nuts, whether it be pecans or almonds, just some sort of nutty undertone to it. The finish, long, oily, viscous, sweet. It's weird because it does it numb your mouth a little bit?
Yeah.
I get this numbing sensation, almost like a
protective barrier,
relaxer. So it just has that numbing sensation.
The dental cream thing when you have a toothache.
Yeah,
Oragel. It's almost Oragelish in nature.
Or if you've ever had a Cepacol sore throat lozenge, it has that sort of numbing effect to it, which kind of goes away pretty quickly, but the finish, holy shit, the finish. I mean, it's still coating my entire mouth. Overall, I said gorgeous finish, palate, and mouthfeel. Coats the palate. Obviously this one is the winner. I have a little tiny bit here left in my glass.
He's also got a full bottle hidden out of shot.
He actually sent me a 375 of this, and I was just like, fuck those guys. I don't care. I'm taking the
You get a half ounce. And
you get a half ounce. Everybody. I was just Oprah Winfreying the shit out of this.
Everyone gets a thimble. Super.
Everybody gets a thimble.
Everybody gets a thimble. Thimble. So I want to hear from each of you, and as it looks on my screen, it goes Nick, Josh, and James. Nick, let's start with you. Let's talk about the 3. What did you think of 1, 2, 3? Why did you pick number 2?
Yeah, so number 1, I didn't take a ton of notes on, just because the nose is what stood out to me the most on number 1. Like I said, I always give everything sort of a name, but smoky bear fire, a fire's just gone out. Sort of that lingering smoke that you might smell and be like, hey, someone had a fire around here recently. But to me, the nose was not awful. Spices, I wrote down spices, barrel char, smoky, but inviting. Palate on it that's where it sort of lost me, which is sort of surprising. It was like it was a shower, not a grower. It's on the nose, it was great. On the palate, it was sort of boring. And not in a listen, we're talking about boring of something that's delicious, but it tasted like what you would expect it to taste like a little bit.
Right.
I got sort of the chocolate, the dark chocolate cocoa nibs, a little bit of dark fruit. The finish was a little bit disappointing too. It was a little thin. It didn't last long enough for me. 2, I took the most notes on. I wrote barrel char, smoky, not overly smoky though, right? So in the distance. I wrote down campfire in the distance. Not overly smoky. Again, chocolate cocoa nibs, but a 90%, 100% cocoa. If you've ever had one of those Ghirardelli break off chocolate bars. The palate on that one, glazed pecans, a lingering bite of cinnamon roll. You've had a bite of cinnamon roll, and it's sort of maybe 10, 15 minutes later, you get a little taste of that cinnamon roll in your mouth. You're like, oh man, that's good. That sweetness though, it reminds me of a cinnamon roll, or those glazed pecans. And then a little faint hint of blueberry for me. It reminded me of blueberry compote.
Ooh,
when it switched over to the finish. Go ahead. Sorry,
James and Josh. Did you guys get now that you said blueberry, almost like a blueberry?
I can't spell compote.
COMPOTE.
Compute.
Josh, for Christ's sake,
Blueberry
turn on
pancakes.
Food Network and culture yourself, man.
I can make a compote, homie. Don't tell me how to cook.
No, compote, not compost. Everyone can make compost.
I made compost a little bit earlier. Thank you, folks. I will be here all week. I'll see you later.
Tip your service. Try the veal.
But I got the finish. It takes that cinnamon roll glazed pecan and it switches over to this blueberry compote that reminded me of blueberry pancakes. Go figure. Yep. I didn't get the blueberry pancake itself. I didn't get the maltiness or anything like that, obviously. But I got that blueberry compote on top of blueberry pancakes, which blueberry pancakes, coincidentally, is like my favorite thing in the world, which is probably why I love number 2 the most. And anything else in the finish, I just wrote unctuous oil bomb.
Unctuous.
So,
I wish I could spell unctuous. I'll need my phone to figure out to spell check my.
UNK.
I'm not gonna write it down. I'll let my phone figure it out.
UNCTUOUS. UNC.
Very good.
Josh, what about you? What was your overall? Josh, you've done with us through Patreon. You were able to do the Starlight pick. You were pivotal in helping us choose Starlight. This is your second one through the Fox Valley Whiskey Society. What did you think about the whole process of it? And then let's go through 1, 2, and 3. What were your thoughts on each one of them?
So I'll tell you, that's the first time anyone's ever considered me pivotal, and I have 4 kids.
Well, everyone has money.
What do we got? I bought them. It's fine. So not a lot new to this, right? I kind of gave a little bit of breakdown earlier. I think the number 1, 727, same thing, right? The nose, you get that sweet smoke in it, right? But just like everyone else said, the palate just doesn't really deliver, right? So you end up with this light, sugary. I wrote light and sugary, light linger of light spice. Like it just kept like it was very mild all across. Sure. You didn't get to go, here's my one thing that this hangs its hat on, right? Number 2, same thing, smoky, nutty, light spice. So not same thing as 1, but similar to what we've kind of said. But I wrote smoke bittersweet, a little bit of a fruit medley in there. So picking out whether it's a blueberry or raspberry, my palate's not necessarily there, right? On all things. And my hope spend a couple extra. I need a little extra of it to really start to find the uniqueness of the individual fruits in there. But I wrote smoke, bittersweet. So I liked your Ghirardelli, right? That 100% cacao, right? That definitely fits it. But I really like that nutty foundation, right? As a cigar smoker, and you can relate to this. I'm a cigar smoker with mixed nuts, at the helm at all times. I think those all play really nicely together with a rye whiskey. I think it'll play really nicely with this too, being very different from a rye. And then that finish, I wrote pancake hanger with fruit, and that was where I said, right? Like it's kind of like I stole my kids' pancakes with all the fruit and syrups and whipped creams and all that stuff on it. Like a good sweet, it's a good combo. If I eat it every day, I get bigger, but I really enjoy it. And it had a really nice linger that kind of hung out, but it didn't. It's not a 3-minute linger, right? It doesn't just hang on forever, but that coatingness does. There is a weird protective membrane that forms in your mouth that is fantastic, to where you could probably try something down, a couple minutes later, and all of a sudden start to find the remnants of that in there. And then on the third one, on 785, I literally wrote punchy. I thought comparatively to the other 2, it just it's trying to hit too much. Yeah. So, and if I could drink it with a lot of other things, and might find it more mellow and more mild, comparatively speaking. But with what we're tasting it with, which I know that's not what everyone's going to experience, I just think that one's a little extra heat, a little extra spice. It's got a little extra of everything that 2 just works. 2 is right.
James, what about you? Yeah. This is I believe this is probably your first barrel pick.
It is. I mean, I've drank my fair share of them, but it's my first time participating in one.
So for you 3, through Patreon are our Man, that proof is really hitting me. Holy shit. Are our whiskey royalty. You
Do we
three
get T-shirts
participate. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I have mine. We
or
can
a
make more of these.
crown? Can we get
We can make
crowns?
more of these. You know what? Actually, I'll get with Dan and Steven. We'll get more of these made. We'll just do it through a different venues, somebody different, so that we can get them a little bit quicker. You guys are going to be involved on, at least as far as Patreon goes, and Fox Valley Whiskey Society goes. You three are going to be involved on every pick that we do as a group. James, I want to know, A, what was the experience like? Did you enjoy it? And then B, tell us about 1, 2, and 3. What really stood out, and why did you settle the way you settled?
Yeah.
And why did you pick the way you picked?
So I think this was awesome. I definitely enjoyed my first one. It's fun to be on this side versus watching on the stream, although that's plenty fun as well. Definitely need to get my my flavor and nose wheel pasted up on the backboard like you have there next time, so I can be summer orchard fruit and baking spice.
There you go.
I'm of less words unless I'm trying to sell you something. So it was a tremendous experience. And where I netted out on number 1, now I'm not a big smoke guy. I was talking with Nick about this earlier, actually. Number 1 smelled like the nose reminded me of Corsair Triple Smoke. It didn't taste at all like it, but the nose was exactly the same as I remember it. And it's been a couple of years since I had it, but that was burned in my head. Didn't deliver it necessarily on the flavor. It wasn't bad on the palate, but it just comparatively to 2 specifically, it didn't live up to what I was expecting on the nose, which I don't know if I would have enjoyed anyways, because I don't like that much smoke, but the palate and the nose didn't match. I'll go to number 3. I dismissed 3 pretty quickly. I did not like the nose on 3 at all, and got hung up on number 2. I wouldn't have been able to pick up or describe the toasted nuts or the caramel pecans, but when you said it, that was immediately it, right? The biggest thing for 2 to me was how the smallest of sips, because we didn't have much, right? The smallest of sips literally took over my entire mouth. I as weird as it says, it reminded me of like anti-seize for cars. It just goes everywhere. One little sip in the middle of the tongue, and it's up in my gums. It's everywhere in the entire mouth, and it stayed there for a real long time. I don't think I've had anything with that much, staying power from a bourbon before in my mouth.
I agree. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, with the staying power. This is, I'm sipping just the regular, the controller right now, just their regular offering. But having finished my sample of number 2, I have a tiny bit of number 1 and number 3 left. For me, number 1, I think, was just a little bit too smoky. I don't think, from a personal standpoint, I don't think it's one for me. 3, same thing. It was just too plain. It was too ethanol forward, too, I don't want to say astringent, because that's not really the right word for it. It was just too
grainy.
sharp.
Yeah.
1 had a really great nose. It had a really great palate. It had a decent finish, but 2 kind of stands out of the crowd. It's kind of like the tall person in a sea of short people, right? It's that it kind of delivers everything. If you like that little bit of smoke, you're going to get it. If you like sweet, you're going to get it. If you like, you get a little bit of grain, you get a lot of bit of brown sugar, toasted sugar, caramel, honey, all these different, Nick, like you said, toasted or coated sugar coated pecans. I think 2 was probably, and I wrote it down, like I said, I mean, one of the best whiskey acre barrels I have ever had. We got a lot of comments out. Steve Malloy, I want to plug Malloy's real quick. They're actually they're our latest retail partner with Fox Valley Whiskey Society. They have locations in Naperville, Lisle, and Glen Ellen. Malloy's has actually been in my family for years and years and years. I want to say Malloy's in Glen Ellen I think he's been there since like the 1950s. My grandparents actually used to go there to get good old Canadian club, and mix it with their drinks. So Steve, Steve Malloy to partner with us on future picks like Penelope and Elijah Craig and Barrel, which Nick, you're going to be going to on Monday. That's super super exciting. We've settled on 2 MC794. I'm going to post the notes later on. This was a lot of fun. Josh, James, yeah, there you go, MC794. Josh, James,
Garrison Brothers.
Let me tell you why I held up the Garrison Brothers real quick. So, it hit me as I was sort of finishing my sips sparingly. And I was like, God, this reminds me of something. And it was, so Balmorhea, their most recent release, 1 double gold, all those things. I know that some people are like, hey, older Garrison Brothers. It reminds me, Garrison Brothers has been described as bourbon candy, which I think is a really good name, like a good description of it, because it's very, for what it is, it's very sweet and candy-ish. It has that Texas char, though, which is real, that deep chocolate char to it. It's kicking in. But
There it is.
But I will say that the Whiskey Acres absolutely punches this Balmorhea in the face in terms of quality. And that bottle, I got swindled into it, was $170. Balmorhea is not cheap because the yield is so bad because the angel share is so high, blah, 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 blah. But if you compare the two, and I added some water to this one to sort of bring it down, it's not nearly as good as what we just tried from Whiskey Acres. Goddamn.
I think there's a, I think there, but before we log off and and kind of give a shout out to everybody. Josh Logan watching and jealous. Anthony Michael, what did I miss? Just got on. Craig Derry, Dina, my wife, is watching from downstairs. Sean Ambrist, who's been a long time member. So thank you guys for watching. I think craft whiskey gets there's a stigma behind it. And Nick and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago on the Glass Less Traveled, with when it comes to price. And the short answer is why is a $375 $50? And the short answer is just it's more expensive to be small. Everything from the stopper to the plastic that you need to seal the stopper, to the labeling, to the glassware. They're buying glassware by the pallet, whereas Heaven Hill and Buffalo Trace are buying it by the train car. So it's just more expensive to be smaller. So, I get a lot of messages as to, why is it going to be $50, $55, $60 for a $375? It's just because it is, guys. I don't, there's not really much I can do. Nick doesn't reach out to me and say, hey, Mike, what should we set the price as? You know what I mean? So, to kind of wrap things up before we log off, and you three, if you want to kind of stay and hang out and just chit chat for a little bit. James, it looks like.
Can I chime in on that?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I think, while I totally get people's position when they're like, how come this is so expensive, right? How come it's whatever, $50, $60 for a $375? You end up with, like if you wanted a $30 bottle, we can go pick a $30 bottle. You're going to know it was a $30 bottle when you drink it. Like there's something to, being able to appreciate whiskey and what whiskey and really bourbon really became about, right? Where it's, as much as it's about what's in the bottle, it's what's outside of the bottle, right? It's there's a whole kind of culture to be able to jump into with it. And what I think really gives it a great foundation is when you have something truly unique and fantastic inside your glass, and you're not getting that at $30 a barrel. I don't care if they buy their bottles by the freaking ship. Like that doesn't matter. It's about what the quality is on the inside. And I'll tell you this, like, look, we can see it just past you, Mike. You got a bunch of bottles in there. I'm sure you guys got a bunch of bottles. I got a bunch of bottles over my shoulder. I got a lot of stuff. And I've got some good stuff. $30 a bottle, $40 a bottle. There are good bottles out there. There isn't anything like this guy that is this unique, that is going to be this much of an experience, that is the opportunity to pour a glass for somebody else and to be able to not just pour a glass and go, this is good, but where now the entire conversation is about what you just poured, because that's how much it hits at every step of the process. Like it's unique to be able to do that, and craft distilleries do that like nobody else. Right? That's what needs to be supported.
Perfectly said. You know, and so Robbie Marquardt just chimed in. I've got the adventurous pick at home. I can't wait to blind taste these two. You know, when it comes to craft, you know, not only you know, you're right, Josh. When it's an experience. The barrel that we picked, I think, is probably one of the most. We've picked seven barrels this year, and I love all of them. The ones from Boot Hill, from Journeyman, both of the Whiskey Acres. Remus was absolutely fantastic. Starlight was absolutely fantastic. I have a specific flavor profile that I go towards, and the reason that I call Whiskey Acres Maple Syrup Cask my number one favorite bourbon is because I like that flavor profile. This is probably one of the best whiskeys that I've ever had. You know,
it's really good. It's really, really good.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like you always worry when you're doing a barrel pick, because there's always that thought in the back of your mind, like, these are going to suck and I'm going to have to ask for more samples. Right. You know, there's always that thought in the back of your mind. I mean, like, realistically, I mean, there's always that thought, like, you know, Nick's going to have to send me more samples, or he's going to have to send them to Oak and Swine, which, by the way, guys, go to Oak and Swine, and, you know, they're our preferred retail partner. You know, and the guys are going to have to pick them up again, and we're going to have to do this again. So it's a logistic nightmare too, not only for us, but for the distillery as well, because now they're holding up all of these barrels. But when Rob, who, kudos to him and shout out to Rob for, you know, kind of going to the extremes, you know, MC794, I mean, it's still lingering. Like, it's still there. And we've been chatting for the better part of like almost 8 minutes. Like, it's still, like, I can still feel it on my palate. So just to kind of wrap things up for everybody who's watching or is listening or is going to watch later on. And I'm going to post this too. A case is 6 bottles. We're going to get anywhere between 130 to 200 bottles. You know, they are 375 milliliters. It's going to be around 120 proof. It's going to be around $50 to $60. And remember, that includes tax. You know, we're going to put a sticker on the back of it because, you know, at the end of the day, we're all taters. You know, Taters going to Tate. And that costs money. All of this costs money. So we have to build that into the cost. So, you know, when people ask me what's the cost of it going to be, between $50 and $60. You know, we don't really take a profit from this at all. We try not to take a profit from this. You know, we try to give you guys the best deal that we can. This is, honestly, guys, this is probably one of the best whiskeys I've ever had.
Agreed.
Really ever. And that's just because that's my flavor profile.
Hey, and shout out to Malloy's on one of the things with Malloy's you brought up. Malloy's has a private select of Maker's Mark right now.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been buying a lot of bourbon. I've mostly been in the Scotch rum realm right now, right? I have plenty of bourbon. I went a little, but anyway, their private select Maker's Mark is the best private select Maker's Mark I've had, and I compare that to RC6 and everything like that. Go to Malloy's. I specifically went to the one in Naperville. They poured me a sample, and I immediately bought 2 bottles. It's that good. It's. Really
I'll have Steve. I'll have Steve send me a bottle.
Steve opened a store up in Lake in the Hills area.
I love those picks. So guys, you know, like Nick said, you know, Malloy's is going to be one of our new retail partners. They have 3 locations. They've been in business for the better part of 70 years.
But
as always, you know, for this pick in particular, we're partnering with Oak and Swine in Batavia. They are going to be facilitating this barrel pick. You know, so we're going to do in what did Nick say, like 2 months or so? We're going to
2 months.
This will be, I know, bummer.
He's talking September.
Yeah. So my guess would be, this bottle is probably going to sell out. Patreon, it's open. It's going to be open to Patreon members tomorrow night. So if you're a Patreon member, even at $3 a month, you guys are going to get first dibs. I would guess Glass Gem sold out in about an hour and a half.
I'm not going through this again. I'm buying a goddamn case. All right.
Yeah,
so.
get a case, Nick. You missed
I'm
the
not
ship
going
on
through this shit again.
on Glass Gem. Glass
Getting
Gem
a
sold out
case.
in about an hour and a half, guys. Just to give you an idea.
$300.
Blue Acres sold out shortly thereafter. I would have to
$300.
guess that this one is probably going to do pretty well on Patreon. We're going to open it up to Patreon first. Obviously, you guys get your bottles that you're in, that you guys are entitled to. But Patreon is going to get open to this first tomorrow afternoon. Everybody else on Fox Valley Whiskey Society, this is going to be open on Monday, starting at 7 p.m. I don't have a price just yet. We'll work on a price over the weekend. Bottle size is $375. Proof is somewhere around 120. This is probably one of the best whiskeys I've ever had in my entire life. For real.
Agreed.
I'm going to look
Hey,
at the
Dave.
camera. Dead eye in the camera. This is one of the best whiskeys I have ever had in my entire. This is absolutely fantastic.
I wrote in the chat.
Part of the overall is how many bottles I want to buy, and I've already marked down 2 cases. So
I will take 200.
Yeah, 2 cases. So that's
1
12 bottles.
million cases.
1 million cases. Guys, hang out for a little while. I want to thank everybody who joined in tonight. We had a huge viewership. There's going to be more, I'm sure that come up later on. All of those who are watching tonight who responded to the post that I posted a couple weeks ago on the group page, I will shoot you guys a message on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to reserve your bottles. Like I said, guys, don't sit on this. Don't wait on this. Don't wait for payday. Don't wait, until, your wife says it. Just pull the trigger on it because it's going to be gone like that. So everybody, thank you. Josh, James, Nick, hang out for a little bit. I'm going to reach over here.
Thanks, Jay.
The end broadcast. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.